Seasoner
and Co.
Welcome to
Second-Hand Haunting,
where we normally read ghost stories from a second-hand book, but today we're playing with a Ouija board.
Playing. This is very serious stuff.
One doesn't channel the occult. One plays with them
Okay.
for fun.
Okay, I stand corrected.
I was really hoping for a demon to just come out of the table. Say
In
hi.
that exact moment, yeah.
Yeah.
Flames coming down from the sky.
Immediately prove me wrong and convert me. I mean,
No skeptics in the room, I've been told.
exactly.
I feel like I'm bringing bad energy by saying that. An angel lifts from the table.
Hey, there you go. There you go. And an angel is merely a
You
ghost
really
who has a
got-
message.
That's right. You've really got to set your intentions. And if you're coming in with the good vibes, then nothing will be okay.
Before we go any further, welcome to our guests this week for our spooky Halloween Ouija session. We've got Ollie with me as per usual. We've also got Jess from Self Love Slut.
Yeah, it's one of those titles for a podcast that often will actually start showing up on porn sites, I'm afraid. I did a Google of my name and of the podcast name, and I'm like, that looks like a porn site. I don't have anything on there.
That sounds like some good advertisement.
No bad publicity.
Look, there's only 3 episodes, and it's all just self-confessional sort of stuff, but it's a slow progress.
Aren't we all?
Yes.
But isn't that a good energy to bring into this space of being very confessional and very open?
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
You do have to have a level of, guardedness about some things, especially when you're traipsing into the spirit world.
You mentioned that before you had a bit of witch in you, or was that more just a feeling, or?
That was just last night. No.
No, I've never, I would never call myself a witch, but I feel like I do witchy things. Like, for example, I did bring a crystal with me tonight, and
Lovely.
for the listeners, I pulled that out of my breast. Don't touch it, it's spinning. An amethyst.
I can cleanse it.
Oh, lovely, that's a great idea.
Yeah. Wonderful.
We also have Justin with us. Hey, Justin.
Hello.
You've been with us a couple of times.
I have.
You need no introduction, but you can do one.
I'm happy to introduce myself. Hi, I'm Justin. I've been on the podcast before. Go listen to those episodes. But once you're done with this one, I run Peasinner & Co., which is the network that this podcast is hosted on. And I also do other stuff that's not relevant here, really. So I won't mention it at all. Just go listen to my other episodes.
Speaking of people who do other stuff, our final member of the coven this evening is Ellen.
Hi, I'm here just because I'm keen, and I do not have a crystal to pull out of my bra.
Letting the team
Yeah,
down.
you didn't.
Yeah,
you didn't
right.
give us advance warning, Jess. This was a thing that we were expected to do as guests.
Well, I was preparing myself before I left the house. I'm like, what do I need to protect myself? What do I need?
I've brought no party favours of any kind.
I've got
brought
some.
Ellen.
but-
That's right. I brought Ellen.
Flavor.
Yeah.
I have brought some instructions for everyone, which you might have read through, you might not have. We can get to those in a moment.
I like to learn by doing.
Sounds good. No one has lost a soul that way before. But before we get into actually practically using the Ouija board, how would you all like to hear about a group who used a Ouija board more than 100 years ago and wrote about it to their local newspaper?
Yes, please.
Well, they lived to tell the tale, so that's good immediately.
Or the newspaper told their tale after they had,
Yeah,
yeah,
okay.
Think about it for a second.
Oh dear.
It's the dynamic of this group of friends. Would we like them? We'll find out.
I don't even know if we find out
Oh, no.
their names.
One of those one pages.
But it's literally
Really
one page.
concise.
Wow.
I picked the short one. I've got a longer one that's like 3.5 pages about when Channel 7 did a live Ouija board reading on air.
Get out. That's cool.
It is. It's also boring.
Don't say that.
So let's do the short, fun one today, shall we?
Excitement.
Let's do it.
Spirits have been messing with my bookmarks, guys.
How often do you get to say that on the show? You just get to say, "Oh, the spirits are messing with me." They wouldn't want this story to get out.
That's more me.
How many scapegoats have you really got here?
Hey.
Oh, I'm not saying. All right, so this is from True Irish Ghost Stories by John Seymour and Harry Neligan. They put a call out in the paper saying, like, hey, send me your ghost stories, because Ireland doesn't have a book of ghost stories, and this is what he got in return.
It's a great book with which we're all familiar now.
A clergyman in the Diocese of Clower gave a personal experience of table turning to the Dean of St. Patrick's, who kindly sent the same to the writer. Now, table turning is just an old-timey word for a Ouija board seance.
Well, Ouija board is owned by the Hasbro Corporation, isn't it?
Yeah, you're right. And I just realised we might need to bleep every time someone says Ouija board, and I'm not going to.
Free advertisement.
I think it's...
Oh, no.
No,
Okay.
it's
Let them come for us.
they can't sue us for using the term Ouija board in the same sense that you can't sue people for like saying using a jacuzzi or a Kleenex or something like that, right?
Band-Aid.
I hope
lab
not.
wrap.
Yeah. Otherwise, we just need to make the last 20 seconds of us listing brand names.
Hoover.
But this ghost story would precede the name being owned by Hasbro, right? It would be
Yep.
because it's a tradition that existed before the copyrighted name, right?
Technically, the name for the object in front of us is a spirit board or a talking board. And that's probably what they would have called it back then. Anyway, this clergyman, he said, "When I was a young man, I met some friends one evening, and we decided to amuse ourselves with table turning. The local dispensary was vacant at the time, so we said that if the table would work, we should ask who would be appointed as medical officer."
This is a level of planning we haven't done yet. Should we appoint a medical officer at this point?
Do you know of any pharmacies with an opening?
So it's just like an actual official appointment, right?
Yeah, this was legitimately that the local dispensary didn't have anyone working behind the counter. They're like, "Oh, who's going to be the new guy?"
That
Right.
guy.
Yeah, at that point, they just pointed at people and went, "That's your job now."
Yeah.
I knew it was
mean-
easy to get a job back then.
It's a small Irish village during the potato famine. There's not a lot of options. As we sat round it, touching it with our hands, it began to knock. You know, maybe this is more of a seance on a Ouija board, but let's keep going. We said, "Who are you?" The table spelt out the name of a bishop of the Church of Ireland. We asked, thinking that the answer was absurd, as we knew him to be alive and well, "Are you dead?" The table answered, "Yes."
Quick alert the towns. Hear you.
It would have taken too many letters for it to spell out that should have been self-evident from the fact that I'm talking to you as a ghost.
We laughed at this and asked, "Who will be appointed to the dispensary?" The table spelt out the name of a stranger, who was not one of the candidates, whereupon we left off thinking the whole thing was nonsense. The next morning, I saw in the papers that the bishop in question had died that afternoon, about 2 hours before our meeting. And a few days afterwards, I saw the name of the stranger as the new dispensary doctor. I got such a shock that I determined never to have anything to do with table turning again. The end.
My, how the tables have turned.
That's right.
Ouija time.
Ouija time indeed.
Or approved name time.
Yeah.
Table turning.
Let's figure
Spirit
out.
reading.
Let's figure out who's going to be the medical officer of this group of people.
Is that our name for medium? Is that what we're calling the medium?
chief medium? I like that.
Yeah.
Well, that's a good point. We do need to appoint someone tonight as a medium, just so that we have one stream of questions being asked to the board, not all 5 of us yelling at once. Does anyone have any experience with being a Ouija board operator? Or medical examiner, whatever.
I do have one experience of being a medium, but that being said, though, I was going to vote for Jess because she had this witchy background and she was bringing this energy. She brought the crystal. I feel like it was meant to be.
Well, did your story go well or poorly? Because that may indicate whether you should be the medium or not.
Very poorly. But, we did talk about whether or not you want me to tell the story.
Yes.
Do you want me to tell the story before or after?
So first up, let's appoint Jess.
I accept. Thank you graciously.
But yes, please, Ollie, I'd love to hear your story.
Okay. So, look, to be fair, I was probably about 8 years old, and it was just me and a friend. And what we actually did was we made our spirit board with the letters and numbers and the yes and no, but by just drawing it onto a piece of paper, and we actually had a glass that we put over the top. We put our fingers on the glass and had that move around. And as we started with the Ouija board, the glass started moving around. Obviously, we didn't know which one of us was the person that was actually moving the glass around.
Neither of you, Ollie.
Obviously, the spirit, yeah. As it went through, we asked them what their name was. They replied with their name. I wasn't a good speller back then, so obviously it was a spirit.
Mr. Mixer-Pillick.
And as the game went, we were asking a few questions. They said they used to live around the area, and now they roam the streets and the houses around that area. But then they said that there was another presence.
Like a homeless ghost?
Like a homeless ghost.
Oh my god, that's so depressing.
But then they quickly said that there was another presence that was coming near. They said it was the devil. And then as we were going through, and they were like, you should stop now. And then we didn't stop. And then it said, like, I am here. And then the glass just shattered.
Oh,
And
get out.
They shouted the glass, like, and pierced my friend's hand from like there to there, and they just started splitting out blood. So that was when we stopped, bandaged up the hand, and that was the whole story.
Okay, guys, as medium of this table, if something bad like that happens, if they say the devil is near, a bad spirit is, we go, okay, goodbye, right?
That's
back on the goodbye.
Yeah, it seems like a good opportunity to say goodbye.
Yes.
Now, I'm not going to say whether or not the other person involved was moving the glass around, and maybe they put extra pressure down at the time, particularly to try and shatter it.
But
I
there's
can
no
just say
way that-
what happened from my perspective.
There's no way that you can put that much pressure on a glass. Like, the only time I've broken a glass, like, in a dumb way was, it was a thin-walled wine glass, and I was like, this looks thin, and I bit into it, and it broke into my mouth. I was 12, all right? It was stupid.
How does glass taste?
Like blood.
Like blood.
It's the little intrusive thoughts that you let win, right? There's no way an upside down glass where the heavy part of the glass on the thing would have no way.
In my mind, it like exploded.
Yeah. Okay.
In my mind, there was spirits in that glass before you played with the board.
It's an 8-year-old.
Callum knows that
I know Ollie's backstory.
Yeah, I was going to say, Callum knows that I'm adamant that I've had spirits around me, you know, and I was saying, like, the story of being in the room and having, like, things rustle without wings and taps turning on, but
Plants
apparently
moving,
that's
cats
not
flying.
enough. That's not enough to completely convince Callum as of yet.
I mean, there's lots of little things like that happen to us. Usually when someone that you love dies, there's always weird synchronicities and things that happen. I think when my auntie passed away, she was a sheep shearer, and they would knock off at 5 p.m. The exact second on the clock when she passed away was 5 p.m. It was like creepy. It was, you know, there's things you can't explain. And
She was a good union worker. Clocked off.
oh, so, you know, there's just things you can't explain, I think. And it's nice to just leave it out there. So.
That said, if we're going to avoid having devils and demons rock up, it would be nice to maybe cleanse the board and go through sort of the process you've got on this
Justin,
sheet.
Did
fair,
you
I
read
didn't-
my instructions?
Why no? I simply summoned that out of the ether.
To be fair, I didn't have instructions at the time, nor did I do any cleansing.
Ah, yes, see,
There you go.
this is the distinction, I suppose. This is apparently very authentic, because Callum's given us a sheet of paper and everything. Are we allowed to reveal, peel back the curtain and reveal you've given us a piece of paper?
No, that's fine.
Excellent.
I would like it to be on record that I have attempted to perform this Ouija session, not seance, Ouija session, as genuinely as possible, including all instructions.
When you say not seance, so what is the distinction between a Ouija board session or
Great
a
question.
spirit board session and a seance?
In my heathen mind, it is... The difference would be a seance is led by a professional medium. Sorry, Jess, you are a medium for today, but you don't like make a living from it.
Yes.
So there's a difference.
I was thinking the same thing.
But in a seance, you'd all be around a small round table, holding hands, creating a circle of energy. Lights would be dim or even off, lit by candles, and the medium would be the one to speak with or for the spirits.
To use like popular culture as a reference, it's not too dissimilar to what the girls were doing in The Craft, right? You know, they're calling on the guardians of the watchtowers of the East, you know, that sort of thing, where they bring in the paganism and the Wiccan into it.
Good movie.
I haven't seen The Craft, but do they pull gooey cheesecloth out of their wahoos?
No.
Okay.
What movie is that?
Like Kraft cheese? Is that a
Craft
cheese?
singles?
Is that a Kraft cheese joke?
Doesn't sound hygienic.
What was your reference, sir? I demand to know what I want.
The craft with a capital K.
Now you know why we're rated.
Okay, are you familiar with the term ectoplasm?
Ah, yes.
Do you know what that was?
The thing they said in Ghostbusters?
Like smegma?
Yeah, you're pretty much there.
Oh no, really?
Oh, yeah.
What?
Oh, when a medium used to produce ectoplasm out of an orifice, whether that be mouth or perhaps it comes up out under the table, and it's usually because they've been using a magician's trick to hide it upon themselves somewhere. Yeah.
Gosh.
Oh.
Okay.
What do you have to do to yourself to...
We're not doing that today.
No.
It's the distinction between this and a seance.
You need to be poor and needing money.
Ah, yes.
All right, so let's cleanse our
Busting
minds.
makes me feel good indeed. Anyway, so
Let's cleanse our minds while we cleanse the board with some rose water.
Basically Turkish delight.
the medium is inspecting the table by means of leaning over and smelling it.
I really just needed to smell that, and it's lovely.
Just for the audience at home who didn't get to witness that.
I'm sorry.
I can actually smell it from here now.
Yeah.
It is lovely.
I hope so. Like, we're not allowed to burn sage in here or anything, but rose water is a lovely alternative.
Would you like me to say the protective prayer?
Please do.
Sure.
It's like, should I pray or...
This is anything but Christian.
Oh my.
I clear this space of all negativity. I ask that this clearing be gentle and that all of this energy be returned to its source.
Thank you. Let's make sure that we are all in a good mood. Is everyone feeling okay today?
Jovial?
If you're not feeling totally 100% on board with this, no pun intended, you do not need to be on board with us.
Get the hell out.
Does anyone want to take notes first? Because we do have a notepad here, if anyone wants to give that a go. The board might spell out some very unusual names for us that we need to keep track of. Or we can just wing it.
I do love to do it.
I feel like
Staring
just
at
jump
the
straight
notepad.
in.
If I practice
Just jump in there.
I will.
Go
I
for
will.
it,
Thank
please.
you.
You won't disappoint because, as you said off the podcast before, you are a people pleaser.
Are you also
Do
a
it.
ghost pleaser?
We'll find out.
That's kind of more important actually in this setting. Don't please us. Keep the ghost happy.
The sheet does say be polite, so I will be polite.
I fully
not-
intend to be polite. to the spirit.
I was not intending on that. I didn't know that was a part of the contract.
We should absolutely be polite. This deceased person has taken time out of their busy afterlife to come and speak to us today. We don't know how much energy that takes them, so we would like to thank them for doing so.
That's so
I
true.
agree.
Before, during, and after.
I think we should also hesitate and discuss as a group before entering any contracts that we are offered. Some sort of spirit pacts. I think we
MLMs.
should, yeah. Signing up to resell health supplements.
Old school friends just like popping out of the blue like...
Yeah, yeah.
I was thinking the other day that I genuinely don't believe in there being like a devil that will come and try and buy your soul and give you a contract to like sell your soul.
Not like
But
Bedazzled with
Yeah,
Elizabeth
exactly.
Hurley and
Yeah.
Brendan Fraser.
Yeah.
Great movie.
Yeah, no, I've watched that repeatedly. Not even kidding. And that being said, I still wouldn't do it. Even though I don't actually believe in that. If someone was like, hey, do you want to sell your soul? Just sign here, I'll give you a Mars bar. Not going to happen.
Why take the chance?
Why take the chance?
No one's waist needs that Mars bar.
No.
Just some ground rules on top of being polite to the spirit. We're going to use our index and middle fingers on the planchette, lightly on it so it can still move around. Don't push too hard. Because ghosts are not that strong. They are, I'm not sure if you're aware, incorporeal, don't have a lot of energy to go around. We've already picked Jess to at least start as our medium. We can rotate through that if we want. We will welcome some positive spirits into the space to begin. We'll ask if there's a spirit here with us. The ghost may not answer immediately, so we'll give them some space with which to do so. This is a podcast. I can edit it if it's taking a little while. If it takes like more than a minute, though, I think, Jess, you could repeat the question.
Okay.
They may be hard of hearing. Nobody please ask for a physical sign that the ghost is here. We don't need ghosts popping light bulbs or exploding glasses or knocking stuff off tables.
What was that Raka Raka movie? Talk to Me? Was it Talk to Me? Did anyone see that with the
hand?
With the hand?
Yeah.
I watched that. My God, they had no like cleanliness rules of spirit. You know, like they didn't go in with good
They broke
intentions.
their own rules. That's the worst part.
What happened?
It's
Possession.
Yeah.
Possession, okay.
They had this time limit which they knew was safe because obviously they'd seen it happen before, and they would regularly go over this time limit just to experience it and have it literally came out inside them and you could see it. It's just one of those creepy things. I'm like, do not let any foreign spirits inside of you. Just don't do any of this. Lots of bad things that they did in that entire movie, but a great Halloween watch.
Whereas we have cleansed the board, you've brought protection in the form of this crystal.
Yes.
So we're going through things appropriately with
Speaking
consent.
of which,
I would also say in the gaps of when we're waiting for an answer, keep your focus on the board and like do just deep breathing, and your intention is good. Like your intention is to speak to a good spirit as opposed to a bad one, and don't let all your external thoughts and stresses of the day come in. Just stay 100% focused on this, and that intention will help with what we are trying to achieve today.
I know our first instinct is going to be to try and fill the silence with jokes, but I'll do my best.
I've never tried to fill awkward silences with jokes. I don't know what you mean.
I know I've edited you before.
It's okay. This will be a focused silence, not an awkward silence, so I won't feel a need to fill up.
I don't know why I asked for room tone earlier.
That's true. You're going to have so much room tone, you won't know what to do with it.
So we will start the session with an easy yes or no question, and then move on to short, simple questions like what's your name, how old are you, where did you live? It will spell out a letter at a time. Sometimes it will use the letters or the yeses or the nos. The board might even just move itself to goodbye. Don't stop it from doing that. If the spirit wants to go, it can go. There'll be another.
And then we can restart if we wanted to restart.
Yeah.
The only thing I've never really experienced with a Ouija board is, do we get to choose who we're trying to speak to, or someone just comes to us? Like, can we put an intention in that for, like, we're trying to reach out to someone, or are we just going to see who's around and be like, hey, g'day, what's up?
I think our first session can be just whatever happens. Sure. Once we get a little more confident, we can start trying to call specific people.
Sure.
I think a professional medium could figure it out.
Yeah, so maybe that's what
Seance.
another thing that a seance is for. Because generally, my understanding of a seance is that you're trying to speak to someone you know that's passed. And
Yes. For instance, there's just been a big war like the American Civil War or World War One, and you've lost your father, brother, husband, son, and you would like to talk to them one last time.
Right, and I don't think I'm bringing skeptical energy into the room when I say that it's a good piece of historical context that like these things became popular when a lot of people had passed.
In times of uncertainty, like, you know, when you don't know who the next pharmacist will be.
Let's find a good pharmacist today.
Would you still ask the question? Like, do you know of us?
Oh, we do, absolutely.
Yeah, that's a great question. Yeah.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised if the answer is no, though.
Oh, yeah. Oh, you know, maybe we don't know them, but they've been watching us this entire time. Right? That's not creepy.
And now let's get that thought as far away.
All right, I'll get this thought out of here as well, that I actually have recently had someone close to me pass away. It's totally fine. I'm not going to tell anyone who it is. Even Ollie doesn't know, I think. But I swear to God, if it starts spelling out that person's name, I am done.
Yep.
Me too.
And when you say done, for the sake of a great podcast, do you mean we're going to goodbye immediately? Or would you like to be like, hey, I miss you, I love you, or...
We'll see how I feel in the moment, huh?
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if you know, I should say, like, in all consciousness, that both my parents have died in the last 10 years. Just going to throw that out there.
I've never known anyone that's died. I've never met everyone I know in my entire life is living. So we're good.
Cool.
So
Any more declarations of passing?
I was going to mention it until you...
It could be anyone. Who knows?
It could be. And because it could be anyone, we do need to be sceptical about what the board tells us because, you know, people lie, so can ghosts.
I'm hoping from someone from the 1800s.
we can can ask them what year they were born then.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I
I want
think
to go
that'd
for
be good.
1800s.
At the end of the conversation, we do want to thank the spirit for talking to us, and then we can exert some force on the planchette to move it down through goodbye. Then I can cleanse it again at the end. Is everybody more or less confident and comfortable? Yes. Yeah? Since there are 5 of us here today, the planchette is only so big, we each use just one hand on there. If that's not giving us any luck, we can try 2, but I think 1 would be fine to begin with. So, Ellen, that does mean if you would like to try and join in while taking notes, you are welcome. But I don't know how ambidextrous you are.
Okay.
I do have one question. In like a seance kind of space, one of the things is like not breaking the circle. Is there anything around lifting your fingers off the planchette once things have started?
Yeah.
Yeah, try not to.
Try not to? Okay.
I would imagine that would break.
Look, if one of us does it, I'm sure we can recover. If we all do it at once, then put it back on and move it to goodbye.
Also, it would leave this kind of like unfinished communication, and because we haven't closed, you have to close it by dragging it to the goodbye. Then it would just be, I don't know, bad juju, man.
Yeah.
We'd seem like a dick for sure.
Yeah.
This
you were
room
talk-
gets haunted for the rest of time.
If you were talking to someone and halfway through the conversation they just turned around and walked away, you would be pretty annoyed.
That's where ghosting comes from.
Hey! All right, without further ado, shall we begin? Yeah? All right. Planchette is over the letter G. Feel free to rest your fingers on the planchette. Try not to put your hand on the rest of the table or the board.
Okay.
And just feel free to call upon a spirit.
Would everyone just like to take 2 deep breaths before we start? We call upon the spirit world and welcome any kind spirits to talk with us. Is there anyone here that would like to speak to us?
I don't know if someone just did that intentionally or not to check if it was slidable.
Is
Right?
everyone holding their fingers heavily on the planchette?
No, I'm trying to be as light as possible.
Okay, that might help. I know my arm's getting sore, but...
Yeah, I wasn't prepared for this. I'm an old man.
All right. Spirits, we call to you. If you're good, come and speak to us. Our circle invites positive spirits to use our Ouija board to communicate. Is there anyone here now?
It is. Look, for the listener, it is moving, but it's...
And I'm giggling because we're kind of moving in the no direction.
There's nobody with us.
They don't want to speak to us, I think, maybe.
I feel like
It's
we've got...
moving. It's moving. I'm not exerting any force. I want it noted. I know it's pushing. It feels like it's coming from...
I know, I'm so light on this thing.
Yeah. That's
Can-
kind of gone to a U.
It has. That's pretty much over you.
Can
I
you
don't know
hear
what
us?
that is.
Can you hear us? Can you see us?
It's just kind of moved to blank space. Oh, it's going again.
Okay.
Alright. I feel like I should probably announce what it's doing since it is terribly slow and the listener might need to know. Editor's note, I have removed some of the silence while we were waiting for the planchette to move, but I have kept all of the answers that it gave us.
How old are you?
Was this an answer to the previous question? No.
No, the previous question, I think, was can you see us? I don't think the answer is 6. Oh, hang on.
We've got 6.
So what was the most recent question there, Jess?
How old are you?
I think it was already moving in this direction, though.
Well, I figured if we're going towards numbers, I might ask a number question. That might be
a
trying
little
to
bit
tell
leading
us.
the
I very much appreciate that for the podcast, Jess. Justin, you're being edited out, my man.
Okay, well,
Okay, well, we have an answer.
We
The
have
spirit
an
is
answer.
6.
what's your name?
6.
Oh.
So we've got an S.
S. Okay, so it's a 6-year-old. Name starting with S. You. I don't know many 6-year-olds. Could they misspell the
probably a
name
good
Sue as S-U? Okay, all right, we've got to E. All right. Very good, Spirit. Oh,
Hi, Sue. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah.
When did you live? Or rather, when were you born?
Oh. 2. 1. Oh, it's going now. Jesus.
7.
217.
I'm wondering whether or not that was actually more like 17.
It could be.
I don't feel like we stopped.
217 could be 21st of July. All right, we had 2172.
The distant future.
No.
7.
Sorry, I didn't feel like we stopped on that too. I thought we went like 17.
Should we
I
ask
see.
whether
Because what are we?
we've got the number
It was
correct?
21727.
Yeah, great one. Do we have the number correct?
No, yeah.
No,
Thank
okay.
you.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
Fair enough.
Thank you, 6-year-old Sue, for joining us and letting us know that we got that incorrect. What year were you born?
Whoa. 2,
2.
7.
So is maybe the last 2 digits are of a year then?
1927, possibly
yes, because it was
1827.
21/7/27.
Way
Instead
to
of
leave it
1927.
vague, Sue, but that's okay.
Be polite to the spirits.
guess
I
I
think
just-
was
I
one
thought
of
it
the
was
rules.
Cheeky.
I mean, we can narrow it down to month if we wish to interrogate this 6-year-old about her birthday.
Maybe if we ask a clarifying question like, what did you like to do when you were alive? That might actually give us a bit of context to what year it was.
Yeah.
So
Whether it's Game Boys or Skittles.
that's right.
Or Sue again, if she was a lawyer.
Okay, Sue, what did you like to do when you were alive?
So going. C.
C.
Y.
Hope it's not cry.
It did kind of go across all of the letters S, T, U, V, W, X, and Y.
C it cross
But-
R.
C, Y.
C Y what?
Yeah.
Oh, we're going again. B,
See.
L.
Thank you, Sue. Could you perhaps clarify the first word, if that is,
Can we try and ask a yes or no question?
sorry.
Could you please
Great.
clarify as a little difficult for
That's
our
a-
6-year-old friend?
Yep, totally
That's
understand.
a great idea.
Did we spell it correctly?
Okay. Turning to yes.
I would have preferred a no because I don't know what CYBL is.
CYBL.
She appreciated
it
my
right.
note taking, so
Yeah, we spelled it correctly. Kibble.
Sybil.
Sybil. Oh,
Sybil is a name.
it's not an activity, but I'll take it.
you ask. Did they have a pet?
That's
Sue,
nice.
did you have a pet?
Now, it stays on yes.
Sue, what kind of pet did you have?
Okay, cool.
Oh.
M.
M. O.
O.
A mouse. Did you have a mouse?
M-O-U.
Sue? Okay, Sue had a mouse.
Yes. Oh.
Veritable Stuart Little.
Or a Stuart Sybil.
E.
I don't think that
Sybil
works.
could be the mouse's name.
Could be.
We don't know that the pet was adopted by the family.
Sue, is there anything you would like to tell us?
It is staying on yes.
We take that as an affirmative.
Yeah,
Can we
think
move
so.
to a neutral position before we ask the question? Is that allowed, or is that going to be too forceful?
No, I think we should probably do that. If we can
So
just slowly
so
move
should
to
we
the
just
sun
say
in the middle. Yeah. All right, there
Am
we
I
go.
asking the same question?
Sue, is there anything you would like to tell us?
No. It's very definitely gone to yes.
Okay, Sue, what would that might be?
That's, oh, okay. She wants to answer this. All right.
So the question was, what would that might be?
I'm sorry, that was terrible.
Z.
Z.
Maybe she's letting us know we got the number wrong.
ZQ.
What the hell?
Playing
I
with this
mean,
now.
Hey, be polite to the spirit, please.
I mean that kindly,
ZQ.
with love.
Let's not invoke the HE double hockey sticks. This is a ghost. ZQ.
Okay.
Is that the end of the message?
Is that the end of the message, Sue?
Oh. Yes.
Okay.
We could probably thank Sue and send her off.
Thank you very much, Sue. Thank you for joining us. We thank you so much for your responses, and we appreciate you for answering. We're all finished today.
Let's move that intentionally over to
Goodbye.
There we go.
Lovely.
Well,
Are we allowed to debrief, or would that be?
I think we need to debrief.
Okay.
Otherwise, I don't think there's much of a podcast. Well, those are all the letters for today. And
It just feels like walking away and then being like, I'm going to have a conversation about this person that I just saw behind their back.
A little
It
bit.
does a little bit, but I think Sue will understand that we're just trying to decipher her answers. Do you think Sue is from a Western, like an English-speaking country?
I think Sue is absolutely 6 years old.
Yeah.
I think we've just got her favourite letters.
Yeah, okay, that makes sense. I wasn't trying to bring skepticism into it when I was saying that there were a bunch of questions asked at the start and there were movements, and my understanding was it was kind of ask a question, wait a period of time for a response, and we kind of had a few rapid fires, so 6 could kind of have been an answer to a few of those questions, maybe. Because I wasn't
Look,
so
amateur
sold on
medium
6.
here, not really
That's
professional.
This is me roasting you as a medium, Jess. I want you to know.
So
No, not at all.
One
Not at
thing
all.
I wanted to say,
Yeah,
like,
great. By
kind
the
of
way.
like admit to as well, is that sometimes it felt like it wasn't really not going to move, and sometimes I'd like to try and just budget just to see if it could get it unstuck. It felt very stuck. And then sometimes when I kind of like budgeted and got unstuck, then it just started moving by it. It felt like it was moving by itself. So
we have-
I'm just wondering whether or not we're putting a lot of pressure on it.
Could be.
Like,
We've got,
with all of our hands.
yeah, we've got 2 possibilities there. So one of them is where we're just putting too much pressure on the planchette and Sue was having a difficult time speaking to us. The other option there is, let's just push the planchette around. I'm going to edit whichever of those is funny.
Sure.
Well, I guess
Unstuck. Sometimes I felt like I was unsticking it, that's all.
Well, unsticking it, I don't think necessarily. If you're saying that you were giving it that initial bit of momentum, that doesn't necessarily mean.
I guess that's why I was kind
Yeah.
of like playing with it just then, because I was like, sometimes it felt like it just wouldn't move, and I was like trying to just see if I could budget to like just get it going.
Yeah.
You know, but then after that, it would be like, whatever.
Yeah, once it was going, it was going.
Yeah.
And when it was going, it made no sense.
I still think that it was like, you know, what was the number that we started off with? It was like,
6?
Well, I put 21727, but that was my reading of it.
No, 21727 I think was correct.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
it could have been starting with 1.
I thought it started with 1. That was just my 2 cents.
So the first question we asked was, when were you born? And the answer we got was 21727. And then we asked, what year were you born? And we got 27. So
Yeah.
that suggests to me that 27 is a year, the 217 is a birthday, the 21st of July, or if it's an American ghost, the 17th of February.
Yeah.
I don't know what she's doing here, but yeah.
Well, yeah. I don't know where the spirit plane overlaps
Yeah.
with our plane. Maybe America's ghosts are all here, and all the Australia's ghosts are in America or something like that.
That's a good question.
I mean, in theory, all ghosts from everywhere, right?
And in theory, we're not about to celebrate Halloween. We're actually about to celebrate another season because we're in the Southern Hemisphere. So
That's a good point.
Diwali. We are recording this on the day it goes out, Halloween, and no one will find out anything different.
yeah, I mean, I could have gone a bit too rapid fire with the questions in the beginning. I think it was just kind of like we sort of sitting on the G. And you're like, okay, maybe I'll just try a different question, and you just kind of keep going and forgetting that, like, I'm more than willing to spell out full sentences, and that's what I was prepared for. Forgetting that maybe a good yes or no question would be helpful, and then realizing after we were speaking to a 6-year-old.
Yes.
Yeah,
It's all a learning experience. I think you did a great job.
yeah,
Agreed. Thank you, Jess.
I mean, polite, definitely.
Yeah.
I think you've helped me have a better conversation with a 6-year-old than I've had in real life.
It's true.
It's true.
And I fear we probably don't have enough time tonight for a second go.
Oh.
But I don't know about you guys. I've had an awful lot of fun.
Yeah, me too.
And would absolutely try this again sometime.
Definitely.
Yeah, for sure.
What a great group for it too.
Look, I love the idea of divination, because what we're doing, we're trying to contact spiritual beings and the supernatural. I think it's fun. I think everyone has a version of it in their own religions and the like. Like, do you have a favourite form of divination? You know, like tarot or oracle?
This one right here.
Ouija.
It's the only one I've had. When that started moving, I was ecstatic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was very surprisingly
Elated.
quick, because I know that from a podcasting perspective it was slow. But from a being in the room waiting for activity perspective, it was maybe 25 seconds. Like, we were talking about, wait a minute and ask another question, wait a minute, and we got responses pretty quick. So
Even if they were all like high word scores on Scrabble.
Maybe that's
That's her favourite activity.
Maybe it was Scrabble!
She's just listing the highest value titles in order.
I feel like she didn't want to spell out Scrabble, so she's just trying to give us a hint.
Really good flavour.
Scrabble is too long.
Maybe they'll
whereas
just get it
Sybil,
from
as I will be calling Scrabble henceforth.
Yes.
Yeah.
She's clearly a fan of board games if she used one to talk to us tonight. So, yep.
Yeah.
I think you've cracked it.
I think my favorite is tarot cards, but I've never actually had a tarot card reading. But I think it's my favorite just for the aesthetics.
Yeah, I mean, I really just love interpreting symbols. And so that's the best for that, I think. I like dove right into astrology, and astrology is so vast. You think it's just like, oh, your horoscope. No. What's your sun, your moon, your rising, your midheaven, your Lilith, your fucking Venus, your Mars. It sounds dumb, but there's a lot to it, all right?
Well, we've had some really long conversations informed by a lot of that stuff, you and I, Jess.
Yeah.
Because, we've been mates for a very long time, and I feel like it's a good conversation starter as well. Like, for me, as someone that comes from more of a skeptical background, I think it does lead you into conversations you wouldn't have otherwise. And I've certainly found that as well, doing tarot readings with Ellen, not with like a professional medium or anything like that, but doing tarot as a kind of interpretive psychological art almost. It's this weird spiritual adjacent, but it's just a really thoughtful practice.
It's
really
definitely one
positive.
of those mindful things that you adopt in your everyday life. And I'd say another one, actually, for people who've done meditation, it can be like one of those experiences where if it's done right, and especially if it's a guided meditation, it can take you places. I, not too long ago, tried a hour-long YouTube voice recording things of people being like, connect to your spirit guides. I swear to God, people...
I don't know them, but they do not surprise me it exists.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, look, I did one, and the whole process is everything is like very visual, and part of it is to imagine a red telephone. And I just saw this red old school handheld telephone, not the rotary dial, but just the beep 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 with the buttons, right? And you have to dial 1771, something like that, and you have to dial that. You pick up the phone and you wait for a message. I saw symbols for every single person in my family that had passed away.
Wow.
Every single person. And it was in order of who had passed. And I knew exactly what they were all for as well. The most recent who'd passed was my partner's dad. I saw a fish for him, and everyone had an animal adjacent. And it was like, it was just clear, and it's a weird experience. And there was also my grandpa who popped up, and my mum and her brothers had been talking about their dad earlier in the week and telling a story about a gun. And so when I saw my grandpa in my mind or whatever, I saw a gun. I was like, no, give me something else. I'm not aligning. Yeah, I'm not aligning you with the gun in this situation. If you're my spirit guide, so they used to race horses, so I ended up coming as a horse, and it was the most surreal experience ever. You get to the end and you have to hang up the phone in the same way that you drag the planchette to the goodbye and you close the connection. And I come out of it like. And when you're meditating, you're still awake. Like, I could still hear sounds in my house, but you're just like, I don't know.
In another zone.
Yeah, in another zone. So if you ever try meditation and you ever want to give one of those things a go, you might actually connect more than you realise.
Kind of reminds me of something I was saying to Callum in our last episode, which was like, I think that in my life experience is enough for me to think that there's something more to this world than just the physical realm that we see before us. And I actually said that I think that to be like a true atheist, it's another religion in itself. Because I feel like to be like a true atheist, you have to be kind of like stout in your religious beliefs as well, not to have like some sort of experience. Something that is just like seeing like a beautiful sunset and not just thinking to yourself, there's more to this world.
Great. Now I have to leave that in last week's episode.
Well, I think I could talk about this for a very, very long time. So I'll try and keep it brief. But I think that these sorts of things inform different parts of the way we see the world. And I wouldn't necessarily want someone that is practicing science in a lab to suddenly start invoking religious beliefs in that setting.
Sure.
Nor would I particularly want the stories and fables that I've grown up with, true or false, informing me to be told by someone with methodical precision necessarily. Like, I think that it's good to be able to bring in those emotions and beliefs and those sorts of things. And I don't know what necessarily happened today. I have some thoughts. But I also think it can be such a good way of learning about each other and about ourselves. And it also can only happen in a place with trusted people and with people that you really respect a lot. Because otherwise, I can imagine if we just didn't trust each other, nothing would have happened, right? Because we all would have been so tense and anchoring it in place and nothing.
And Sue wouldn't have trusted us in kind.
Well, exactly, with her mouse, Sybil. But I think that what I take away from this, I don't know what happened on the board. I really take it as just as a sign that I'm in good company. There are good people around. This is cool. This is chill.
I will say one thing though. You know, regardless of whether or not the board could have been influenced by us or not, the fact that we got like a full name, I was pretty excited about that.
Yeah, that's pretty choice.
Yeah, like just one name, and then the mouse incident, like as I now call it. I was pretty excited about that as well. But obviously, what she liked to do was a bit harder.
I'm glad her name was short.
Yeah.
Could have been Suzanne.
Llewellyn would have been very difficult to get up with all the double L's as well. Like, is it moving? No.
Maybe she was trying to be kind to us as well. Maybe her name was Suzanne, but she's like, oh, they can't do this.
Let's go easy on them. Yeah.
Oh, dear. Well, thank you all very much for coming tonight. Thank you, Jess, for being our medium. Thank you, Ellen, for being our scribe. And I'm just going to go ahead and ask on air, shall we get together another time for another bonus episode and do some tarot readings?
Yeah, absolutely.
Very choice.
All right.
I love
Hell
that.
yeah.
Well, that sounds like a future episode of
Second-hand haunting.
Well done.
Thanks, guys. Good job.
Thanks, Sue.